It's coming out today. We're going to play it tomorrow. They did a review of the new expansion of Diablo 4. 7 out of 10.
And with every step she takes, I grow stronger.
Diablo 4 was one of my favorite games last year, so I've had high hopes for its first expansion, Vessel of Hatred. Fortunately, this action-packed crusade through the muck and mire of Nahantu's forests and swamps is exactly what the Plague Doctor ordered, even if there isn't as much meat on the bones as I'd hoped. In fact, the truncated campaign, unfinished story, and modest amount of endgame content make this expansion feel more like a prologue in some ways. But the quality of life...
Wait, so is it bad?
Life improvements, changes to the meta, debut raid activity, and fantastic new character class are all so dang good that I'm happy to continue grinding XP and claiming shiny loot for several hundred more hours.
Okay. That's good.
Oh, you're not well. Please, my child, let me help you.
Stay away from me!
Vessel of Hatred picks up right at the maddening cliffhanger of the base campaign, so spoiler warning for that if you haven't seen it.
It was
the Daughter of Hatred is dead, and a young adventurer has spirited away a soulstone that contains one of heaven's most wanted demons, Mephisto.
Ooh.
Had just begun.
He's
Throughout
bad.
this roughly 6-hour story, you'll watch the dominoes fall as the manifestation of pure evil inches ever closer to what seems like an inevitable resurrection. But things wrap up here well before reaching any kind of climax, leaving us with yet another cliffhanger.
Oh, really? Come on.
War with me will only make her suffering worse.
That makes the campaign the weakest part of the expansion. And although the lore, characters, and few substantial plot developments we do get are all extremely compelling, there are simply too few of them, with precious little payoff to boot.
A wasteful outcome for both of us.
Thankfully, the stuff
I feel like the campaign in Diablo 4 wasn't really great. It was okay, but I don't think that there was like... I didn't realize how kind of meh it was until I watched the Diablo 2 cinematics again. And then like I'm like, oh wow. Oh wow. Like it was,
actually doing during and beyond those scraps of story are as exhilarating as Diablo 4 has ever been. Just about everything, from the changes to leveling and the loot system to the added dungeons and side quests, is beyond fantastic. Rune Words, a returning feature that lets you put special enchantments on your equipment, adds yet another layer to build crafting that I adore. In smashing through the Karast Undercity, a time attack dungeon that's infinitely replayable and great for farming endgame loot, easily devoured my evenings.
Okay, cool.
Not every task hits the mark, like the seasonal Realm Walker activity that has you slowly follow around this big dumb monster.
And he's got his grade out so it doesn't take damage. Anytime that there's like a world event or something like this where the monster doesn't take damage for like a period of time just to extend the time frame, it's always so fucking annoying. I hate that. I'm okay if it's like that for the first 20 seconds or so. That way, like, everybody's able to get a tag, kind of like Lost Ark does this. That way, everybody gets a chance to actually hit the boss, etc. And there isn't one guy that just one-shots it. But other than that, so annoying.
And slashing through the compelling Nahantu region of Sanctuary that's been stapled onto the southern part of the map is rarely dull.
Yeah, visually it looks decent.
I especially enjoy the changes to the leveling system, which now caps out at 60 instead of 100.
That's
then
smart.
gives you 300 levels of over-leveling.
Yeah, I feel like they made leveling so fast that 100 levels felt like you were getting a level like every 5 or 10 minutes. It was just too much.
In insanely complex Paragon perk trees. The result of the shortened climb is that you get into the end game much sooner, which will be very nice when making new characters each season. You get to spend more time engaging with end-game build crafting, while creeping your way up higher world tier difficulties, earning an
wow, so they're doing all this again. Holy shit. Oh my god. It's becoming Diablo 3 again.
Creating ever more powerful loot as you go. Whereas the previous Diablo 4 ladder climbing journey had the occasional slow point, this streamlined version feels good all the way through to 300, and I am much more inclined to repeat that grind on multiple characters and through multiple seasons as a result.
The only thing I didn't like about... So I don't like games that have infinite leveling progression. Like, I like the idea of infinite gear progression, kind of, like with like PoE or something like that, or pseudo-infinite. But, like, whenever you just have to keep leveling, like the way that they added Paragon levels that were uncapped, I didn't like that.
To dramatically improve my long-term commitment to fighting off the hordes of hell.
Suffering. Desolation. Horror. This is the road we know.
My favorite new mechanic is the mercenary system, which lets you recruit
they had those
NPC heroes to join you on...
So they basically just made it Diablo 3? I feel like all of this is in Diablo 3. Yeah.
Your adventures.
I will not let you down.
This allows
crazy.
solo players to even the odds a bit with co-op groups by having a computer-controlled friend or two tag along for your dungeon delving.
That's cool.
That includes Subo, this long-ranged bounty hunter who provides backup with his bow, and Aldkin, this demon child who uses her powers to send your foes to the Shadow Realm.
Ooh.
Not only do these faithful companions each have their own introductory quests where you learn about their history, but the longer you spend time with them, the more XP they'll gain to unlock new abilities and other rewards.
That's pretty standard.
You'll be there too?
But the most substantial new thing to dive into is the delightfully customizable class, the Spiritborn. After nearly all of my time in the expansion as this class, it's
I think I'm just going to play this class because the new season comes out with the expansion, right? Like, it's not like it comes out later on and, like, you're in this weird limbo. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I'm just going to play the new class.
Become one of my favorites.
Jungle Mall? Yeah, exactly.
The ancient guardians of the unformed lands.
This tribalistic magical warrior relies on their connection with guardian spirits, ghostly animals who imbue them with godlike power, all of which have their own memorable, unique style and set of strengths and weaknesses.
We're gonna do that centipede, man. That shit's gonna be so fucking badass.
The gorilla spirit is all about making you an invulnerable tank, then punishing your enemies for daring to attack you with thorns. While the wonderfully offensive jaguar will turn you into a lightning-fast, melee-swinging DPS machine.
Well, maybe I should do that.
Quite squishy.
That sounds pretty cool.
The eagle is all about mobility and allows you to teleport around the map and make yourself incredibly hard to hit, while my personal favorite, the centipede, lets you cover large areas in poison and make yourself nigh invulnerable with life-stealing abilities.
I feel like that one's just obviously the best. It's obviously the best one. Especially with, like, how many events in Diablo 4 are the equivalent of stand here and kill the mobs that are spawning on top of you. So if you can drop them, it's like the corpse explosion, secondary thing where it leaves the pool of miasma. Like, I mean, yeah, this is 100%. Wrong. It's the worst late game.
Although you're best off focusing on one or two spirits, you can mix and match any combination of the abilities each of the Phantom Beasts offers. So instead of having a specific set of things your class excels at, like berserking and bleed damage with the Barbarian, or crowd control and AoE damage with the Sorcerer, you have a whole lot more options with the Spiritborn. This modularity is especially great when one build isn't working out for you, because instead of switching to a different character, you can just respec your skills, swap out a few pieces of equipment, and instantly transform
fucking flicker strike. Oh god.
Into a belligerent glass cannon. Playing as the old classes,
that does look pretty good.
Still has plenty of advantages, like the fact that you can get way deeper into the weeds with those more focused playstyles. But for those who want a bit more freedom to change their minds and try different approaches, the Spiritborn is an absolute godsend.
Seems decent.
One of the biggest highlights of Vessel of Hatred is the new endgame co-op activity called the Dark Citadel.
What the fuck?
This challenging gauntlet requires you and 3 friends to best devilish bosses while
Wait, they have raids?
completing raid-like puzzles in 3 different wings of a deadly fortress.
I'm sorry, guys, but this does look like Vaulton from Wish.
Fighting off countless high-level enemies
I hope
along
it's
the
good.
way.
We'll see what happens. This is a
This
really
is the
cool
first
idea.
activity of its kind for the series, and while it definitely has all the signs of being an early attempt, is easily the best endgame activity Diablo has ever had.
I'm
It
actually
makes
kind of
Nightmare
surprised that
Dungeons
they're
and the
doing
Uber
this.
Lilith boss fight from the base game feel underwhelming by comparison. Dividing our groups between 2 realities and coordinating a way to take down a boss's immunity shield was some of the most fun I've had in Diablo 4.
That's Argus,
and
isn't it?
reveling in the high-end
Yeah.
loot made me want to run it all again.
I wonder if any of the mechanics in this are going to be something that wasn't in Lost Ark. I'm actually really curious. To be fair, Lost Ark was really
There's
good.
plenty of room for improvement, though, as all the raid mechanics are so straightforward that our group was able to push through to the end with minimal coordination and no more than a few failed attempts at each wing.
See, that's one of the things that, like, to me, I don't really like that. So I feel like when you have, like, group content, if you have, like, random matchmaking group content, you can't make it too hard. And if you make the group content and make it really easy, then why are you even playing with other people in the first place? It's like this really weird, like, paradox that I think the game has, where it's like LFR is like this in WoW, where, like, why are you even playing with other people if every single time that, like, it's just like a guaranteed success rate? You might as well just make it a solo experience. Like, I was thinking this would actually be challenging, because if it's not challenging at all, and it's just like you go in there and it's basically like another world boss, like, it's like a waste of time, right? It just feels like a waste of time. How is it a paradox when Vaulton exists? Because the way that people usually play Lost Ark is different than the way that they play Diablo 4. And also, like, the way that, like, the entire, like, Lost Ark is an MMO, and it's designed and the player base has a totally different perspective on, like, how they're going to approach, like, problems like this. So it's like if you have random, like, nobody's really doing random matchmaking in Lost Ark, right? It's very uncommon. Most people are making pre-made groups.
Still, it's an extremely impressive first draft that I'm eager to see Blizzard build upon in future expansions. And
That's
it's
fair.
already, without
Yeah.
question, the most fun
True.
activity to be found in an already excellent action RPG. With
Yeah, I
such
hope
an
this will be
exemplary
fun.
co-op activity to delve into, it's very nice to see Vessel of Hatred finally bring matchmaking functionality to Diablo
Thank
with
God.
Party Finder,
Holy
which allows you
shit.
to easily find a group of fellow wanderers to smash through demons with. Like you'd expect, you're able to post or search for groups that are playing on specific world tiers, tackling certain activities, who want to talk in a party chat, and
Yeah.
all that bog standard goodness. For folks like me who tend to run around Sanctuary solo unless given an activity that really requires co-op, this is a really neat feature that probably should have been available long ago, but which comes at a
True.
perfect time since Dark Citadel makes partying up more of a necessity.
Yeah.
That all said, a year and a half into its lifespan, it's a bit surprising that Vessel of Hatred is the most unstable version of Diablo 4 so far.
What does it mean
It's
by
never
that?
so bad it made me want to rage quit, but with multiple crashes, quests that wouldn't complete, important NPCs multiple...
Oh, that's just, I mean, listen, every time a AAA game comes out, I expect it to be garbage when it releases. I'm sorry, I do. I'm like, okay, yeah, of course it's gonna be fucked up.
And hilariously running around the map together, bosses becoming
That's just
permanently
me.
invulnerable for no reason, and more, it was enough to occasionally throw a wet blanket over an otherwise good time. I'm sure many or all of these issues will be addressed in the weeks and months to come, but my time in Nahantu was a lot less polished than I'd anticipated. That said, not all bugs were too awful, like one where my friends and I were able to do this. That was actually pretty fun.
Damn. That's a lot of experience.
Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred is an awesome expansion that adds an excellent new area to explore, a gloriously modular character class that I can't stop playing, an impressive debut raid activity, and lots more.
I wonder how people are going to
But
perceive
while
the
just
raid.
about everything it adds to the action is awesome, it definitely doesn't do enough where the somewhat flaccid campaign and story is concerned. And
I can't believe they used the word. That's the word I use all the time.
numerous
boy.
bugs can occasionally drag it down. Thankfully,
Yeah.
the changes to the meta, a greatly improved progression system, the resurrection of rune words, and NPC companions are all major wins for Diablo 4. Even if it seems like we'll be waiting a while to see where this interlude
Ooh,
expansion
not a 7.
leads. For more, check out our reviews of The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom and Ara: History Untold. And for everything else, stick with IGN.
Well, I mean, it seems like it's decent enough to at least try. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Hopefully it's actually going to be fun. He literally just complained. What? Well, I think that really, like, what he said is that the campaign sucks. The new class is good. He said basically, if you're a Diablo player, you probably don't care a lot about the campaign. Because that's something you're going to do one time for 6 hours. And then, like, now, because of the way that they do the seasons, you're probably never going to do the campaign again. So it's like if the campaign sucks and he said, like, oh, there's, like, stability issues, everybody knows that's going to get fixed over time, right? Like, realistically, everybody knows that. And so what's really the problem here? Read the first comment. Reviewer failed to distinguish additions to the base game and seasonal content from DLC. DLC is Runeward, Spiritborn, Dark Citadel, Karis Undercity, Mercenaries, and of course the Campaign Act. Everything else is available to anyone who owns the base game and should be considered when deciding whether to buy or not. Planewalkers are additional seasonal activity, which will be gone and replaced with something else in 3 months, so that probably should be considered as well. I don't think that you should expect them to be replaced if they're actually good. That's what my perspective is. If these things are actually good and people like them, then you're going to have people continue. They're going to keep doing it. Like they did that, for example, with a lot of the old bosses. And this is the PoE strat, right? Where if something is very well received, you have it go core. And that's effectively what I think is going to happen. I will try this game out and see what happens. I'll probably I want to do the campaign. I'm going to try and do it tomorrow. And I'm going to do the entire thing, hopefully in one day, and then try to level up the character.